Hello, friends. It's your boy Memphis Flash Zach. What if I told you that the exact building where Elvis Presley played his very first paid gig in the state of Texas is still standing today? But almost nobody knows where it is, and the people driving past it have absolutely no clue what they're looking at. Today we're going to go on a digital treasure hunt down to Gladewater, Texas. Back in late 1954, this stretch of road right here on the county line was known as Sud City, a wild neon-lit strip of roaring honky-tonks. And right in the middle of it was a notorious beer joint called the Mint Club. This is where a 19-year-old Elvis Presley, flat broke and driving a broken-down car, first shook the state of Texas to its core. If you look at the map today, the original spot where Elvis plays is just an empty, overgrown patch of grass. Most historians will tell you the Mint Club is gone, but they're wrong. By digging through historic aerial maps from 1955 and tracking local property records, I found the truth. The building wasn't demolished, it was actually moved. See that building right there with the rusted tin roof? That is the actual physical structure of the Mint Club. Decades ago, a preacher moved the entire building across the highway to turn it into a church. It sits there today, silent, empty, and hiding one of the greatest secrets in rock and roll history. So stay tuned, friends, and hit that subscribe button. Let's get into it. It was December of 1954. And Elvis Presley, Scotty Moore, and Bill Black were stranded on the side of the road in Shreveport, Louisiana. They had just finished a performance at the Louisiana Hayride, but their beat-up Lincoln had completely broken down. They were out of cash, miles from home, and desperate. When they scrambled to find a payphone, they called up their booking agent, Pappy Covington, to tell him they were stuck. Covington didn't have any money to send them, but he did have a phone number. He told the boys, "I know a guy in Gladewater, Texas. His name is Tom Perryman. Call him. He might be able to help you out." At the time, Tom Perryman was the legendary booming voice of East Texas and the station manager at KSIJ Radio in Gladewater. When the phone rang at the station and a polite, soft-spoken 19-year-old kid named Elvis explained their situation, Perryman didn't hesitate. He told the trio to find a way to get across the state line to Gladewater, if they could make it. Perryman promised he would put them up for the night, feed them, and most importantly, find them a gig so they could put some cash back in their pockets. But booking a last-minute show on a weeknight in a small East Texas town in the middle of December wasn't easy. Perryman couldn't book them at a high school gymnasium or a respectable theater on zero notice. He had to go where the crowds and the cash already were. So Perryman picked up his own phone and called a notorious windowless beer joint sitting right on the Gregg County wet-dry line. He booked the broke unknown trio from Memphis to play that very night at the Mint Club. Little did Perryman know that emergency phone call in December of '54 to secure a few dollars for a broken-down car was about to result in the official first ever paid performance of Elvis Presley in the state of Texas. If you pull up Google Maps right now and look at the intersection of US 271 and McCormick Road in Gladewater, you won't see much. It looks like a completely empty, overgrown patch of East Texas grass on the side of the highway. Most people driving past this spot have absolutely no clue they are passing rock and roll holy ground. Watch what happens when we roll back the clock to December of 1954. Man, look at that. This is a rare aerial photograph taken in 1955, just months after Elvis played here. Suddenly, that empty patch of grass disappears, and you can see a thriving, active property nestled perfectly inside the curve of McCormick Road. You see that building right there surrounded by a light-colored, cleared-out dirt parking lot? That is the original footprint of the Mint Club. You can even see its competitor sitting directly across the highway to the north. Back then, this was the absolute heart of Sud City. But the story doesn't end with an empty lot. If you look closely at the modern satellite map today, just across the highway, you'll spot a structure with a heavily rusted tin roof. Local history tells us that decades ago a preacher actually purchased the original Mint Club building, jacked it up, and physically moved it across the highway to try and turn it into a church. By comparing the 1955 aerials to what is on the ground today, we can prove it. That rusted roof isn't just an old barn. These are the exact physical walls that shook when a 19-year-old Elvis Presley took the stage in December of 1954. You know, it's wild to think about. A 19-year-old kid, completely broke, with a broken down car in December of 1954, stands on a stage inside a rough East Texas beer joint. He sings his heart out, saves up enough cash to fix his car, and goes on to change the course of music history forever. And today, that history is literally sitting on the side of Highway 271, hidden in plain sight under a rusted tin roof. Next time you are driving down South Tyler Road in Gladewater, slow down when you hit McCormick Road. Look at that empty patch of grass. Look across the street at that old building, and just imagine the sound of Scotty's guitar and Elvis's voice echoing through the piney woods. History isn't just locked away in museums or textbooks. Sometimes it's overgrown with weeds right on the side of the highway waiting for us to find it. If you love this deep dive into rock and roll history, do your boy a massive favor. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and share this video with another music fan. Until next time, I'm Memphis Flash Zach, keeping the music history alive. I'll catch y'all on the next one.